project. So a little bit like why we had to do it, and then kind of like going through the softwares that we are using for the project, right? So some of the softwares we are using is Vendonation, which you already know is the vending machines, PS Trax to track expiration, lot number, and inventory, and then the NarcID, which is going to be for the controlled substance. So for the pharmacy, most of you already know this, so bear with me, it's just like a quick overview. We had to take over the medication management due to the new regulations that were actually implemented. The regulations were already there, but the technology wasn't there to implement the regulations. So finally in 2024, they say, okay, now we have the technology, so let's implement these regulations, right? So the most important part of the Drug Supply Chain Security Act is that you need to track the medication from the manufacturer to the patient, right? So, so that's why in 2024, the hospital says, well, if I give the medication to EMS, I cannot track that to the patient, right? So it turned out that EMS is exempt on that rule, but the hospital doesn't know which medications go to EMS and which medications don't. So then they couldn't even track that anyway. So Virginia Board of Pharmacy and in Virginia decided that it was time for the agencies, the EMS agencies, to control their own medications. And this has been done in other states. We were one of the last ones to still depend on the hospital to get the medications. So how we are going to accomplish this? So we need, in order to track the medications, because we do want to track those medications, even though we are exempt, is like a good practice, and it's also good to make sure that we have lot numbers, that they are not recalled, that we don't have expired medications in our bags, right? So the goal and the potential is there. So we need to track the name of the medication, we need to track lot numbers and expiration date. So these are the main goals, why we need to do all of this. One is patient safety, do no harm. So we want to eliminate errors due to the use of expired or recalled items, not only for medications, but also for medical supplies, as Joy will mention later. And then we also want to eliminate the possibility of missing things in our bag, hence the PS Trax. We want to make sure that we have everything we need when we go to a call. And then eliminate also the presence of no working assets. That's why we are also using that PS Trax in a few months for controlling the assets, right, that we have. So it also helps us to do inventory management control, and that's why we want to reduce waste. So that was like cost savings that we can use for other things. And then reduce out-of-stock items and improve asset trackability and accountability. And all of this, that's part of the big medication management project that also includes medication supplies. So the way like FCFRD decided to start this project was to have like a main pharmacy where we order and we receive the medications, and then set up satellite pharmacy where you can go and exchange those medications, right? And everybody went through the pains and growth of phase 1, where we implemented the first 5 locations. Then phase 2 is almost done. Well, phase 2 is almost done. We have 44, 40, 26, 22, and 19. Actually, is done already because 26 just went live last week. So we are done with phase 2. And then the only 2 remaining for phase 3 will be in a few months. We are waiting for some stuff in 11, and also decided where we are going to put in 32, since they just moved to the trailer position. Well, their station is being built. So this is how it look like. You already know this. You have seen these satellites. So we have in this area, we have the vending machines, and then here is where we have the controlled substance. In the vending machines, we have the medication supplies and also the Schedule 6s. So this is how we are, Vendonation is the system that we are using to dispense the Schedule 6 and also the medication supply. So we have the medications mostly are in the vending machine, except a few that they are easy to break, so we put them in the locker, so you just take them out so they don't drop from the vending machine. And then in the lockers we have mainly the medication supply. So we use the proxy in order to get in. So you proxy into the machine, and then you connect. This is connected to the network, so we have a real inventory of everything that is in there through their software. These machines are going to be restocked by pharmacy and EMS logistics, and then we have like real-time alerts of when something is out of stock, right? But we control that every day. We get, if something is out of stock, we get those alerts, so we know. So that is why it's very, very important that we keep an accurate inventory. And when I mean that, mostly it's important in the lockers, right? Like, be faithful, and if you take one, say that you take one. If you are going taking 3, say that you are taking 3, right? Because if there is a mismatch, what we see is what you recorded, not actually what you took. Yes?
Do you get an alert if it's out of stock or if it's getting low on stock?
We get the alert out of stock. So that's the only alerts that we can get, but it's not even an alert, like it's like an email, right? So if we are not there, we don't see it. That's why we run a report every morning when we go to make sure that everything is up to par. Especially we do that like Thursday, Friday, to make sure that there is nothing coming out during the weekend. Yeah. Okay, so we have here like why we restock this. So it will be, it's like patient care, expired items, and then if it's lost or damaged or something, then we go and restock. So again, proxy card, you press like the restock reason, so it's like it was expired, I use it in patient care and so forth, and then, or it's broken or other, and then you press the number of the coil or the locker, and then you press pound, and then it will dispense or it will open the door for you to get it, right? You can do up to 7 items with one login of the proxy card, but if you need 9 items, you just need to show the proxy card again. So it's not going to stop you to do it multiple times. It's going to log you out after a while, but you know, it's best practice to just, every time you leave, just log out so nobody can use your proxy. Keeping medication safe. So as you know, these are dispensing machines. If I put a vial there, it's going to drop and it's going to miss it, right? So we need to use these plastic bags, and we put the medications inside, they stay there. So some of the medications that are that need to be protected from light, some they come already in amber vials, but some they don't. So then we need to put like a brown bag. So you can either keep the brown bag if you want, or you can just take it out after it's dispensed, because you're going to put it kind of like close in your bag. So we are not that concerned about that part. But if you want to still keep it with the brown bag, that's fine. It's just that it will be harder to identify when you are on a call, like which one it is, especially because we have, I think, at least 2 of those that we use the brown bag, right? So just, we want to reuse those plastic bags. They are hard plastic bags, so then just when you finish with them, just drop them either in the parrot return bin or in the blue bin that is usually on the table. So either way is fine for you to put it in there. Do not shake the machine. This is something that we need to make sure that people do not shake those machines. So just be patient. The reason why, once it drops, there is a sensor at in the bottom of the machine. So if it doesn't sense something like coming down, then it will spin again. And it will spin up to 3 times. After 3 times, the machine thinks that there is nothing in the machine, so it will be unable to dispense more. And you probably will receive some of these calls. I see that it's in there, but it's saying that it's out of stock. It's because somehow when it dropped the last person, the machine didn't register, it spin 3 times, and then it didn't fall anything, so then that's why it's still there, right? So just give us a call, we can reset the coil, and that's it, okay? So what do we do when we get like the extra medication? Either we pick up the wrong medication or the machine just dispensed 2 and we only want 1, right? So what you need to do is just put it into the return box, and then if you can complete the form that is a Microsoft form, so the QR is actually posted in the return box, so just complete it so we know what is happening. And mostly it's because we want to know first how much we have there, so we know like, hey, we need to go and empty it, but also because we can track if the problem was like it was dispensed twice, so then we need to look at that coil, right? And we kind of like look at that form to see trends, right? What is happening. Also, we use this for expired tracking that we will see later. So it's also best practice. Always, please make sure that you fill up that form, right? If the coil is malfunctioning and you see it, it's not just that it dropped twice, but you see that it's stuck or something, just give us a call or send us an email. They will actually call you first, right? Because you are there, or they will call you. So then just, give us a call and we will go. If it's after hours, if you give us a call and it's after hours, if it's urgent, it will route for the person on call. And right now the person on call is me. So I'll be out for the next 2 weeks. So the person on call will be Dr. Weir. Okay, so that's kind of like for vent donation. Do you have any questions about the, yes?
So the supply thing where you put like a D50 and stuff, okay, what happens if somebody gets there, opens it, and wants just 1 box of D50, and they say, oh, somebody said we needed an extra on the end, and they grab 2 more. Mm-hmm. How do you trace that to say, okay, this person took more than they were supposed to?
So we can track, like if that happened, we can see the trail, like who accessed that. We can see the report and who was the last person or everybody that opened that door, right? So then it will be like, because we also have the time and the date, we can go to the video. There is like cameras in these, and then we can see, okay, this person took 2. So then we will call them and say, hey, please, nothing wrong with you taking 2 if you need to, because maybe it's for another unit, right? But just put that you took 2, so then we have an accurate inventory, right? And just as a reminder, I know this is new, kind of new. It's not new now because we have been live for 2 months, but it's a reminder that you need to be accurate, just for us to keep an accurate inventory. And in the lockers is especially where we need more like people being truthful, because the coil is going to drop 1 by 1, right? And this is going to be very, very important for Jody and her team. So please be mindful so they can keep track of the inventory, like real inventory, what is in the machines. So PSTrax is the next one that we are going to see. And you all have seen PSTrax, how it looks like. We log in, everybody has a login. It's 3 kind of like areas. One is the checks, the other one is the alerts and the what I call the shopping list. And then the last one is the journal, which is a communication tool. So in the tracking area, we are going to go to the vehicle station, and what we track here is Schedule 6 medications, everything that is in the ALS medications and the BLS bag, also the restock kit, we also track it in here, medication supplies, everything that is in ambulatory containers. And I use container because that's the word that PSTrax uses when it refers to the ALS bag. The ALS bag is a container, and then inside the ALS bag we have subcontainers, and one of the subcontainers will be the medication bag, right? We already know all of this. Later implementation will be to also track everything that you have in the vehicles, but we are not there yet. But hopefully it will be coming at some point, right? And then the assets is also being built now, so we can track the Lucas, the Sol, gyroscope, and all this other stuff. So, yeah. Inventory actions. The big thing that we did was the inventory count at the beginning when we entered everything, right? Now we just need to keep it up, except the extra ALS bags that we are doing for some of you, that you will have to build everything from scratch. So you will have to enter all the medications with the lot number and expiration date. After everything entered, then you just need to keep it going. So if you replace something, just add the new lot number and new expiration date. And for that, you use the inventory count function. So you go to the as needed in that area. Well, first you select your unit, then you go as needed, and then this pops out, and then you select your unit again, which one it is, like from the engine you want the ALS bag from the engine, and then you the type you use inventory count. Also, you have two more functions that you can use. One is usage, and the other one is restock from vendor. Usage is if you are using something, you can deduct that you are using that, right? You can say, okay, I use the EPI, I use whatever you use for that call. And that will build a shopping list in the middle part of PSTrax. So I always say, if I'm the one that is going to go to restock at the pharmacy, then probably I don't need my shopping list because I already know what I use. So I can just go straight forward to restock from vendor. So at the same time that I'm entering the new data, I'm just removing the old data, right? But if I was the one in the call, but I'm going to give this task, or I'm going to ask to replenish the BLS provider, probably I'll have to give him a list to say, okay, this is what I need, right? So then it will be better for me to do the usage first, so it creates a list for them, and then they can go through the list and say, okay, I need this, this, and this, and then they will take the stuff from the machine. So it's not mandatory to use the usage. You can do it all at once, but it's an option for you to use if you are passing this to another person to go and shop for you, right? Okay, so also we can keep track of the supplies, the checks, right? And this is what we do every day. And as a EMS supervisor, what you need to make sure is the compliance part, right? Are they doing the checks or not? Did they do those checks? The first day check is still the first day of the tour, and they have to check everything. They have to open the tag, the seal, right, and check everything that everything is correct, right? And this is something that it takes a little bit of time, right, as you know. So if you do it as a team, it's better, right? So if you have your driver in the ambulance and in the medic unit and the ALS provider, they can do it as a team, the first check. It doesn't have to be always only for the ALS. The BLS provider can also help and, you know, start reading the numbers, and the other one is checking in PSTrax that it fits. And then it goes a lot faster, right? And we also involve the BLS provider and get them familiar with all the medications. So maybe if they want to grow and they want to become an ALS, they already have something there, right? So these, when you go, you check the supply checks that are ready for you for that day. So you don't have to remember what type of checks do you have to do. You just need to know, okay, these are the 9 checks that I need to do, and then go one by one and do all your checks that you need to do for the day. For the non-first day, the only thing that we are checking right now is the seal numbers, right? If the seal number matches, then we are good. We don't need to go up and do all the medications. And then soon there will come also the asset checks, right? Once they are built into the system. Reports, this is the most important part for you, like how to build those, how to run those reports. So you see check compliance. If they already did the check for the day. Also, you can run for expiration dates and also below minimum if they have like something in the bags, right? You can see if they are missing some of the medications. So, question for you with this. We run the expiration report every month for the ones that are expired in the next month in the pharmacy, because we want to know, okay, what is coming, what is being expired, so we need to make sure that we have extra in the machines, because it's not only because of the usage, it's going to be also an exchange because of the expiration date, right? So we run it. My question is, do you want me to send you the list of those expires to you, or do you want to run it yourself?
How difficult is it for you to, like, I saw last time, like, you split it up between stations.
Yes.
How much time does that take you?
It doesn't take me that much, because we run everything. So then I build it in a pivot table, and then I only select the units, the stations that are under you, right? And then whatever it is in there, I just copy the pivot table and send it to you. So it maybe take me like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes. So it's not, I mean, for us, if you want it, I don't want to impose like, you know, sending you the emails like, oh, this lady, why is sending me all of these emails, right? But if you want that, I'm happy to do it. If you want to just run it yourself, I'm happy to. I mean, we do run the report for sure every month. Yes?
I mean, I think the idea of PSTrax, right, was the onus, I think the providers are pretty good at seeing the orange and red. I mean, I don't know, is it redundant, I guess is the question. Is it redundant work for you? Is it redundant work for us if they're breaking those tags once every 3 days? They see the expiration dates, they know the rules.
Yeah.
The big thing is the narcotics, and maybe you're going to get there.
Yeah, the narcotics, the narcotics we are going to send it no matter what. That's for sure, because you do not have access to that data. So yes, narcotics, I'm going to send that. With the PSTrax, what we have seen, and yes, they're supposed to do it, right? But I still see like some bags that are, some items that are expired, and I only run the medications. I don't run the medication supplies. I still see something that was expired in June and July. Right? July is now, so it's okay because they still have some days. But last month when I sent it, there were things that were expired in April, May, and June, right? So it's those that are like left from behind that you want to make sure, one, that is not a mistake, because maybe the one that they have in the bag is good, it's just that they haven't updated in PSTrax. And second, if they really have it, that's a conversation you need to have with that provider, because they do the first day check 3-4 times a month. So that means if they miss something that was expired like in 2 months, many people has missed that one. Right? So
I have found stuff that was not expired where I thought it was when I go to these stations and check the bags for expired items, that they weren't expired, but they were not updated.
Exactly.
More often than not.
Exactly. So, and that is another thing, another coaching experience. It's like, okay, yes, but it has been like 3 people checking, and they haven't catch up that there was a mistake on the expiration date, right? So that is why. And that is the only thing, right? And also, like, just to know, like, for me, from your point of view, what I can see is like, if they have a lot of expires that are coming next month, you are expecting them to go more to restock, right? So maybe you keep that in mind, or I don't know, like whatever information, if it's good for you. Again, if it's not, if you're not going to do anything of that, I won't send it. I mean, and that was this part of the conversation, why I have you, all of you here. That's why I'm doing.
So this is just my opinion. I would like you to keep sending it. It gives me a reminder, like, hey, I need to check with my crews. But I still think that we also, each of us, need to still perform the full expiration check for the soft supplies. Because there's usually every month I'll send at the end of the month I'll send my crews the whole report of both meds and soft supplies, and that way I let them know, like, hey, these supplies are coming up, you need to go go to online ordering now, or when we go to vending machines, go to the vending machine and get these things replaced. So if we still have something else that we need to do besides the medications, but I think the double effort will kind of remind us that, hey, it's near the end of the month, we need to make sure our crews are keeping up.
Yeah, one thing you could do is, do it for the next 6 months, and if everyone finds that they haven't had to open the email because they've already had it, then next time we get together, we can revisit that, but it might be worth having the redundancy early on.
I have no skin in the game for this specific part, but I feel like if you're running the report anyway, it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
Like, that's
Okay.
what I look at.
With regards to redundancy, it sounds like you're going to run the report anyway because it
Yes.
needs you to manage your inventory.
Yes.
The question is really, do you want to receive it or do you want to compile a shopping list yourself?
Yeah.
Our experience is we've been supporting the field and the build out and the compliance with PSTrax is about 50% of the time where we go and say, hey, I see that you're missing XYZ item, or it's indicated that that expired last month. Let's go ahead and pull the bag and have a look at that. That sometimes it definitely is a good date in there, it just hasn't been updated. So is it better for it to be that way, or is it better for it to be accurate and expired? So just getting into the habit of doing that is one of those things. As an end user, I'll sit there and look at that orange, and I won't necessarily, it's not always easy to slide over and see the date that it expires, but learning how to run those independent reports for expired items and below bin items, you can run it for the whole station, and then you can filter it by unit. And it is a really, really easy thing to do, and it's a whole lot easier than opening up each bag, each form, and scrolling down and looking for the orange. It just gives you exactly what you need. And of course, that's not useful until after it expires, right? But, 3 days, 7 days, whatever the acceptable amount of deviation in compliance is, right, which is 0. But I'm just saying, give them a couple of days, run the report, see how it looks, highlight it for them, and give them the opportunity to correct it, right?
Yeah. And also, the same bag is used by 3 different teams, right? So if I see it, it's like, okay, next team will do it, right? So it's like, and then they keep going on, and then at the end, it's like, what happened, right? Like we find something expired.
So me as a shift leader, I would like to have those reports as well. How hard would it be to put the shift leaders as a courtesy copy in their email?
Yeah, just send me. So I have the list that I have right now with the 15 people that I have in my roster. This is changing. Just send me the list of this group, and I'll just send it to the people in the list, right? So yeah. And again, I usually do it by section, so I know which stations are for these. So I only send you your stations. I don't send the whole thing because it's a lot, right? So yeah. Okay. The last part in PSTrax is the journal. They call it journal, but it's a communication tool, right? So it's kind of like a pass on or an announcement, right? So you can add a post here, you just click here, and then you select, right? You can select pass on or announcement, and you can do it to your station or the department. The default is the station, so just but then if you want to send something that you want to announce to the whole department, then just click the other one, and then it will go to the whole department, right? Don't do it the other way around, maybe you're getting in trouble, right? So that's why it's good that the default is your station, so you have to actually click it to the whole department. Okay, so we just got an email last week about this. They found this bag, right? What do you think is the correct place? How should we have it?
I would think in the box.
In boxes? Yeah. So these are the reasons. Safety, right? We want to make sure that we don't make a mistake, right? And it's easier to identify the box, at least visually, than having to look to the vial, right? Then also medication contamination. If we have it outside, it's easier to contaminate, especially if the bag is going around or something falls into the bag when it's open. Also these plastic things, expiration date, the syringes, actually I checked the other day and they do not have expiration date on them. The expiration date is only at the box, right? You still have the expiration date of the medication, but you don't have the expiration date. And I know it's plastic, but you know, we are going to use it to put something inside a person, so we want to make sure that it's up to date, right? The other thing is the proper storage, right? These medications, this epinephrine, needs to be protected from light. So if we put it there, so we have more chances that this is degrading and it's not like the potency is not accurate, right? And then also prevent the damage. It's glass, so we don't want the glass going around. We open the bag and then the glass like flies, right? Because even though like this needs to be closed, when we open, everything is moving around, right? And you know better than me that this is, if you use this, you are in a stressful situation, right? So, and then as you can see here, it says protect from light, and the best way to do that is to keep it in the box, right? And then something that for my perspective is a little bit also important, the disposal. If we get it this way, the reverse distributor is not going to get it, it's not going to accept it, and also we're not going to get any reimbursement for it, right? Again, I will point out for your perspective, these two, like proper storage and safety, are definitely more important. But also, for me, it's easier to dispose and identify the boxes to send it with the reverse distributor than then what do I do with those meds if I need to dispose them, right? Because they don't accept those that are outside the box.
And there was a time when certain bags when we had to take them out of the boxes, so people may have that ingrained. So just letting them know, like, hey, no, it fits in there.
Correct.
In the boxes now. Please don't do that.
And I think this is a historical, like, you know, like way of doing it, because before you couldn't fit the box in there, right? But we changed the ALS bags and we make sure that those fit.
The other thing is, when people were storing them outside of the boxes because they didn't fit, we had people giving the wrong meds because they were doing it by, well, it feels like it's the right one.
Right.
Bad decision. Bicarb is not the same as D50.
Yeah, so just make sure that if they ask you or if you see it, you educate people, hey, now it fits, please make sure to keep it in the box, right? Yeah. Okay, the last part is going to be the NarcID, and this is the one that is going to take the longest because this is the one that kind of like is the more cumbersome, right? And it's specifically for ALS provider, right? Because a BLS provider is not going to be, is not going to have access to this. So some of you ask me, is like, but why do we have to have it locked? Right? Why do we have to have like so many like cumbersome? So and I accept that because it's like, I know that is intuitive, but when they are asking me, I want to have like something to reference. This is why, right? And the why is because the DEA says that a controlled substance has to be locked or maintained when we have it in the medication room, which is the medication, the main pharmacy or the satellites, it has to be until 2 locks. Like, you know, you need to have 2 locks. The first lock is the door that it has access only to the people that have access to the door. And then the second lock is like the internal security storage on the CSU, right? So we have that second lock for the only in the CSUs at the satellites, right? Then the Schedule 6s, they only need 1 lock, which is the one of the door, right? We actually have them inside the vending machine, but it's because also for our convenience, right? And to keep track of the medications. In the unit, in the EMS, like in the vehicles, then you only have, your first lock is the secure storage. So you have it either in the safe or in the inside the medication room, but not everybody has it inside the medication room, so that's why you need the safe. And then the second one is the RFID, right? Every individual vial is actually capped with that RFID, so it's secure in the CSC. And then for the Schedule 6s, we have it inside the lock cabinet, right? We have it inside that medication cabinet inside of the vehicle, right? So the alarm, so for the main pharmacy with the Schedules 2 to 5, you need an alarm. In the satellite, you need an alarm. But if it's a temporary storage, then you don't need an alarm, right? If it's something that is as a controlled substance, but it's storage just temporarily, then you don't need to have like an alarm system. But if you are storing something permanently there, then you need an alarm. And that's why we have the alarm in the satellites, right? Very, very important, remind people, please arm and disarm. We kind of like, when we were doing the education, we were telling people to just enter and disarm, enter and disarm. Well, we are seeing this now is like, okay, it's not enter and disarm, it's enter and listen and check, right? Because if somebody forgot to alarm when they left, and you enter and you do this, you are arming it right now. So then we are getting the call, and this is happening. We are getting the call. Chief Alvaro can say that we are getting those calls at 5 in the morning. Hey, somebody. So I'm the third one in the list, but Todd gets the first call. Chief Alvaro gets the second one, and then I get the third one, right? So I'm okay, but they are the ones that are being more impacted. So just listen. If there is like a noise first, and also if you look at the panel has a red line. The red line means it's armed, so you want to disarm it. But if it's not armed, if it's in green only, then just wait. Okay, somebody forgot. But remember, when you leave, then arm, right? So it's not like just come and do it. You need to look. If it's armed, disarm it. If not, then don't do anything. Also, if there is somebody already in the room, right? Don't arm it, right? Because they already disarmed it. This also happened, right? We were in the room like doing something, and then somebody came and it's like, no! And I had to disarm it, right? It's like, we are already in the room. There is no alarm, right? So just make sure to go over. Yes?
Can you explain what people should look for when they walk into the rooms to say, oh, it's armed, I better...
So first there is a noise. There is a noise that it says beep, right? If it's armed, it will say the noise. If not, you won't hear anything. And second, when you look at the panel, red means arm, only green means not. And we have a how-to that I can send to everybody because we put this already and distribute it, so you can actually, show it to people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't there an additional light on some of those other facilities?
Yes, it's additional, but it's high. No, they all have it. It's just that it's a different type of light. There is one that is actually very annoying light, blinking, that actually, because it's blinking and it's so intense, is actually popping the video to start recording. So we are asking them to change it because it's a waste and it's like blinking all the time. Then the other one is just like the red light, which is good, and then the panel. The panel is very small and sometimes it's high enough. So the panel is actually the best one to look. I mean, you don't have to look like up to look for the light. If you just look at the panel, red means it's armed, green is not armed, right? Questions about this? No? Okay.
I have something. I just
Yes.
have a question about the temperature control, not about that.
Oh.
I don't know if you're going to get to that or not.
Temperature control?
Yeah.
I don't have it here, but we can talk about it. Yeah.
No, I was just wondering what the variance is for what it has to be in for temperature control when it becomes an issue if the HVAC's out or.
So the temperature, so the temperature, like room temperature, right? So what it means. So usually is between 69 and 77. That's what is considered good. You can also have like some like something like it goes like above but it has to be just like kind of like spikes, right? You can have spikes of higher temperature, but if it doesn't continue for long, then it's okay, you are okay. But if you have like above like 86 for a continuous time, then it's not good. So, and that is why, if you remember 26, we remove the meds.
Well, so I didn't know. I didn't know what the threshold was for removing that. Only because the medications sit in apparatus phase that'll sit at 100 degrees.
Yes. And that is the thing, we cannot control that. And that is considered temporary storage. So we cannot have like, we cannot control at that point, right? And we are having, I mean, the Board of Pharmacists say it is what it is. I mean, there is nothing we can do, right? Hopefully, once you get the medication into the bag, that doesn't stay there for like years, right? Which is where you see like a real like effect on the expiration date and decrease in potency, right? If you have it there for a temporary storage, hopefully it's renewing, and you don't have it there long enough, either expires first or you use it to fully impact on the medication. But once I have it in the machines, once I have it in the pharmacy, that can stay there for a long time. So I want to keep it as perfect as I can there. So when you get it, you get a good medication that it can start declining after that.
Do you remotely monitor the temperature and all that?
Yes,
okay.
we do. We have a temperature sensor inside the vending machines, and we control those. And we get alerts too when it goes either up or down the temperature. Yeah. And that is why we are putting temporary units. Like there is one in 18, a temporary unit in 9 because the AC is broken, so we put one in there. So we are putting those until we can have like a more stable, like especially now in summer is a problem. Yeah, but we are measuring that temperature. We look it up every morning. We look at that temperature. Yeah. Okay, so this is the system that we use for the controlled substance, right? The software is called LogView, and then we have the saves. So the saves connect to LogView and they sync. Actually, yesterday, on Monday, we switched it from either 4 to 6 to 7 hours to 30 minutes. So now they sync every 30 minutes, right? And the reason why we didn't do it before is because we didn't have enough potency with the Wi-Fi and all this stuff to do it, but we got it. So thank you to the IT team. Steve Dennis was looking into that, and he finally got it. So on Monday, he switched, so everything should sync like every 30 minutes. You can actually do a manual sync, right? You can press that network button, and then it will sync. So if you need, because you need something to do it faster than the 30 minutes, then just press that button and it will sync, and it will send all the information from the safe to the software, right? Now, the communication here, when they sync, it goes like 2 ways. The software updates the safe on like new users or like deleted users, or I changed my PIN. That's what is updating that way. The other way is everything that happened in that safe is passing all the information to the software, right? Every 30 minutes is doing that, but if it's outside the Wi-Fi, then it might be an hour. When you come back is when it's going to do it, right? The system, when it's the 30 minutes, it will start trying. If it's outside the range, it will keep trying like every 5 minutes, like 2 more times. And if after 2 more times it doesn't sync, then it will stop and it will reset to the next 30 minutes, right? And that's how it works. Now, one thing that is important to keep in mind is that the safes don't talk to each other. Because as you can see here, the software doesn't send all this information back to the safes. So they don't know what is going on in there, right? So if I take medications from here and they appear here, this machine is still expecting the medications because it doesn't know that actually the meds are here. And that is why it's very, very important to tell your providers, you need to finish all transactions at the safe level, right? If I'm transferring something out, I need to tell them the safe that I'm transferring out. If I'm expiring, same thing. So it's very important to finish every transaction at the safe level. Key points, I already said. Finish all transactions at the safe point, at the safe level. Assign the reason code for all missing meds. Use transfer appropriately, and then perform a shift change or manual sync at the beginning of your shift. So we start telling people, because our sync was so delayed that we didn't see transactions coming up, we start telling people, hey, do a manual sync at the beginning. Now that we have it every 30 minutes, it's not as important, but it's also like, you know, like it doesn't hurt like just to press the network when you are doing the shift change every morning, right? Yes?
Can you go over the proper, what your expectation is, or what the expectation is when you come in the morning and you get on a unit that has narcotics in a safe, but you have no ALS provider on the unit, as far as the shift change goes?
So you cannot do that, okay. Right? Yeah. So I will say if that unit got downgraded, right, from the medic unit to an ambulance, then don't do the shift change for today. You don't have an ALS provider.
Yeah, it's a frequent.
What I will say is, if the day before was a medic unit, right, make sure that that person checks that they finish all the transactions before they go. That's what I will recommend. Because like now, day 3, another ALS provider comes and see, hey, all of this is missing here. Now it's like 2 days ago, how you are going to contact that person in order to clean your safe, right?
Yeah, so some of the concerns is the ALS provider says, well, I'm leaving. I don't want my name on the safe for the next X amount of days that I'm not here.
Your name is in there anyway.
Yeah.
Because you are the last one, right? You are the last one that touched it. Well, what you need to make sure is that you didn't leave any transactions, right? If you want to do the shift change or not, your name is still there. So that doesn't change anything. What I want to make sure is that before you leave, you don't leave any pending transaction, because it's easy to leave something like that. Let's say like you are in an incident, you take the person to the hospital, right? You put the safe and it's like, okay, I'll finish it later. I do skip, and then I go take care of my patient, which is what you should do. But then after, you get another call, but you don't use narcs, right? And then you come back, and then after 2 more calls, you forgot that you didn't enter that incident number. So before you leave for the shift, just go on the safe and say, okay, did I miss something? I'm like, there is anything pending, before you go for the day, right? So that's what we need to kind of like encourage. So if there is another provider coming, they can see it and they can tell you, hey, this is missing. But if there is no provider coming, then that gets lost, right? So, yeah. Yes?
So we've got a rig that's not going to be running for 12 hours overnights. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to just end of our shift, we clear it out, everything's restocked, everything's nice and happy. We can just let it sit there overnight, no problems. Come Sunday, nobody's there. We can leave everything in the rig. Nobody's gonna, whatever happens, but we don't have to do anything with it. We can just let it sit right there. Then we come back in, work comes back in first day. Boop.
Yes.
I'm here, have a nice day.
Yeah, the only reason why I will recommend to pull that CSC from there, if it's like, okay, I'm not going to touch this vehicle in a month.
Yeah, a day.
Then just put it into a CSU. First of all, the temperature is controlled and we know where it is, right? Now, if you are going to use it like, you know, it's going to be only like a weekend in between the next or whatever schedule you have, but that's the permanent rhythm, then just leave it there. But if you are going to be like a vehicle is going to stay there for any reason and it's going to be like a long time, then just put the meds into the CSU. Yeah. Okay, and then another very important thing is do not place damaged or broken RFID tags in the safes. And the reason is, once this is broken or it's just the tag, the safe is still going to read it, but it's going to say like temper, malfunctioning, something, and it's going to mess up our audit trail, but also it can create confusion to your provider, because it's like, what is here? Is a problem? What did I do wrong, right? Just don't put them in there. Once you break it, just put it into your pocket or whatever you want until you just drop them off at the satellite, right? So very important for that.
That's what that little white tab for, so if you have like any unused medication that you still have in between disposing of it or between using it and disposing of it, and so you don't have the vial popping up and down, that's what that white cap is for.
Yes. And that white cap, that was like, like we put it in there and everybody, what is this here? So it was funny. But okay, so what I mean, like, finish every transaction, right? So in the safes, like the ones that you have in your vehicle, so please make sure that you assign the correct reason code, so patient care 1, and then add the 9-digit incident number. We have seen that people is just adding the last 4. I mean, those last 4, they repeat every day pretty much. So please make sure that they add the 9-digit, right? So we can identify that incident number. And the way we are doing, because we are doing audits to make sure that the incident number that you put in the safe matches the incident number in the EPCR. So if we don't have those 9-digit, then we cannot match it. And then we have to match it manually, right? And we are trying to do as much as we can in our audits to be automatic, right? So second, if it's broken, it doesn't mean that the vial is broken. When we use broken, is the RFID is broken, right? So as Bailey was saying, if the RFID is broken, then don't put that tag back into the safe. Like, let's say you break it because the patient was seizing, but then you break to administer another midazolam and then they stop. So you don't use it. So keep that tag in your pocket and use the white cap, right, to put it inside. And then you can return that at the satellite, right? So when you remove that, when you put it back, because it doesn't have the RFID, it's going to say, hey, it's missing. Yes, it's missing because it's broken. The RFID was broken, okay? And then transfer. Transfer is when you are moving the medication from one safe to the other one. And we are going to see transfer is one of the main issues we are having problems with people, so we will see it later, like more in detail, how to use it. And then again, perform the shift change in the morning, and then the manual sync, which right now is not as important because we are seeing that every 30 minutes is working, but if you want, you can do it. At the CSU, always use transfer. We see so many incident numbers, put it in there. So the one that is missing from the CSU is the one that you have on your hand. So that couldn't be used in an incident number, right? The one that is missing at the vehicle is the one that you use in the incident number. The one you are just taking it, you are transferring from the CSU to your vehicle safe. You have it in your hand. That one is not used in an incident, right? And we put that, I think it was Bailey, put that sign on top, only use transfer. Still, we are seeing incident numbers put it in. And the reason why it's confusing is because once you put an incident number, that tag gets inactivated. So when you put it back into the safe, it kind of like reactivates, but sometimes it's funny on the software, so we get like confused. It's like, is inactive, is active? What is happening here, right? And then we have to look back on the trail because we get an announcement saying, hey, this tag is funny, right? So just make sure always transfer in the CSU. There is no other reason you will get something from the CSU missing on your part, on your end, that is not a transfer. So please always transfer.
Is everybody clear on that? Everybody, if you're taking meds from the CSU and the pharmacy, only use 5 transfer.
Yeah. And don't do a shift change in the CSU, because the CSU is not in the shift. Yes.
So is there a way that you, on the CSU cabinets, can you just remove the incident?
No. So, funny thing, I have a sticker that it only allows you to press 5, but it's like, oh my God, do I put it or not? So it's like, because this is like very like hard.
It shouldn't be on, it shouldn't be an incident.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be skipping.
It's only 5.
Right.
Yeah. So I say, okay, we'll give it a little bit more time. If we are still, because it's not, I mean, it's actually, it's 1 every 9 people, 1 every 9 that is putting the incident number. It's not like it's like just 1 every 3 months. It's like, yes. So then we have to go back and we have to delete the incident number and we have to reactivate. So yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So temporary storage, we can also use this for what you were saying, right? Like we have something that is not going anywhere, is the vehicle, like let's say like the volunteer vehicle that is going to be repaired. There is no other one that we are going to transfer the CSC to. Just keep it in the CSU, like keep it as a temporary storage for the whole case, right? And we can use that for that. Now, this, I'm going to remove it, the expired controlled substance, because we are changing the process, and I forgot to remove that from there. So we are not using the CSU to keep the expires anymore. We're going to change that, and I'm going to send a video, but you are the first ones to know this. We had a meeting on Monday with the people from the software, and the way the software works is not what we thought it was working, so that's why we are having problems. So we decided to change our process to make it more seamless, right? Okay. Okay, so expires, we were talking about, right? So bring the full case. When you have something that is going to expire, bring the full case to the pharmacy, take the expired medication out, and then place it in the return box. Do not break the RFID. Just place it into the return box. And then just go to the CSU and get your new medication. Questions? Yes.
Do you want a form filled out?
Yes, that's the next slide. Fill out the form. Yes, good.
No. Making sure.
There is a QR code.
Good. So there is a QR code in there. There's a QR code for the return meds, like in the return box. And also there is a QR code in your iPad. Second screen, there is a link that it looks like this. Medication return form. So please tell also your providers that that is in the iPad. Like a lot of people is trying to look for the, and we will see later, for the waste. It's like, what is the QR code for the waste? They expect it to be at the hospital. The hospital is used for many other agencies, not only us. We don't want to confuse other people. It's in your iPad, right? In your iPad, there is a medication form. Now, that waste process is also going to change, and you are also the first ones to know. The form for the waste is not going to be a Microsoft form. It's going to be a form in the EPCR. So when you are filling your EPCR, then you just go and fill up the form there, right? And we are changing that. Yes?
So I have a seizing patient, I pull up my Versed, I draw it up, I'm getting ready to give it, they stop seizing, I decide not to give it.
It's already in the syringe.
Yes.
So then you have to waste it.
Yes. But I never gave it, so therefore how would I document that?
And that's why it's a form in the EPCR, not part of the EPCR. Yes, and that is Steve Harman's question. Yes, and we had this discussion, like, okay, how can we make it? Because we didn't give it. So yes, it's a form, like it's kind of like an attachment to the EPCR.
And then for the safe, when they return that broken capsule, you would put broken.
If you
So-
if you take pop the seal off of the vial for an incident, that vial's done. So that's always an incident.
So always, you crack it open even though you don't get it.
No, it's not an incident.
He's saying if he drew it up. He's saying like he didn't give it.
If you didn't give it, it's not an incident.
You can't charge the patient for it.
Yes.
So does it go-
So you just put broken. Yeah. Broken.
You put broken on.
On your safe, and your vehicle safe, you put broken.
And I return it.
Yeah. Now, in your EPCR, there are two places, because the EPCR now we are asking you to record the tag number, right? So there are two places that you can record that tag number. The first one is not mandatory. So if you break it, put it in there, right? Because I mean, put it in the first place. Like when you open your EPCR, when you're filling it out, it says, like underneath it says RFIDs. It's not a mandatory field, but that's the field where if you break the RFID, but you didn't use it, then you can put in there. I use like to break that one, the RFID. You can put it in there.
Does that come up automatically?
Yes, that one is automatic. That's why it's not mandatory.
Like medication given.
Then when you fill out, go farther and you fill out the medication form, then is when if you use a controlled substance, it's mandatory for you to put the RFID. So there are two places where you put it, right?
Can we run some scenarios later on?
Yes.
I'm going to check this out.
Yes.
If this is the case too, if this is for the broken, because now we have an incident and broken, right? This is a tag, like, because we have the instructions on the med safes, right? But for the vehicle one, we might need to put a sticker on there or something that becomes incident, the broken versus incident. Because we're going to put incident.
Incident is only if you give it to the patient.
I get it, but wait, there needs to be some sort of reminder or something like that below that safe or something like that. So you get to the point where people know that. Because I didn't know that.
Yeah. Actually, for that, we are not seeing that much discrepancy.
Yeah, exactly.
With that, we are not seeing that many discrepancies.
Okay.
So that people kind of like, incident is kind of like EPCR, right? You only put what you administer. So incident is only when you administer, right? So if you break it, but you don't use it, then it's a broken.
See if this logic walks out, because it may help me remember. I want the incident if I want to know which vial specifically was given to which patient and tie these two intimately together for tracking and tracing.
Correct.
If I don't need to do that, meaning I wasted it, it didn't go in your body, I don't need to figure out which vial went into your body, that's a different pathway.
That's broken.
So incident number then is imprinted on my brain as if I need to tie tracking this substance forensically to your body.
And so incident in body.
Incident is like patient care, right?
Yep. Well, so both. So the
But yeah, I mean, like the other one, sure,
Because they're both-
yes, to the body, yes. It's administration. As long as you administer it, it's an incident. If you didn't administer, then it's not an incident.
That helps me.
Yeah. Yes.
One question. What do you do with the tags? Because I've had this question a lot, that's the broken seals. Do they recycle them? Do they trash them? Do you want them to return in that box? Or what do you want them?
So because the tag is usually, unless something happens, is always with the lid, just put it back, everything. We just detach it. I mean, it's actually, it's a little bit like clunky, like to get it out. You have to put something that is thin to poop it out. So we are not expecting you to do that. Actually, for us, sometimes it's better because when we retrieve it, it's like, oh, okay, they use this tag, right? So just return it, and you don't have to fill up any form if you are just returning the capsule or the broken tag. You don't need to fill it up. Now, if you are wasting, then you need to fill it up. But right now, we had it separate, like on the waste form, right? Which is going to be now in the EPCR, right? That's why we had two different forms. One was for the waste, the other one was for returning the medications, right? And the form was medication return form, right? We only need the form when you are returning a med. If you are just returning the RFID tag or the capsule by itself, you don't need to fill up any form, right?
Sounds like the interest of putting it linked to the EPCR is to lessen the burden on the frontline provider to go to two different systems of documentation, albeit with some confusion potential for understanding which line to put it on. The advantage is they don't have to go to two separate places to do it.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. And also, like the EPCR is always there. The Microsoft form, we had to download every month to keep it on the record, because if we have an audit, we need to show like the waste forms, right? So it's easier to run a report and keep it with the EPCR than having, like right now we are matching manually. Okay, you said in the EPCR that you wasted this, now we have to go to the Microsoft form to check that you actually wasted. And we are doing that reconciliation manually right now. Like if we do it in the EPCR, we just look at the EPCR and we have it, everything in there. Yeah. And also it's easier for you guys because you are already there filling it up, so fill up the form like next. Yeah. Okay, so for the expires, just a recap. If you have expired, just bring the CSC. You don't break the seal, you just put it directly into the return. Restock whatever you need to restock, and make sure that you fill up the form. When you return to your vehicle safe, which we call it VCSS, Vehicle Control Substance Safe, then just choose 2, which is expire, right? Because it's missing because it's expired. You just drop it into the return.
So the difference is you don't want it put back in the CSU like we did.
Correct.
Now
And
it's in the mailbox.
now it's in the return box. That's the difference.
That's a change from what we were initially telling them.
Yes, it's a change. And the reason, just if they ask you why, right? So the reason was, we thought at the beginning, okay, since the RFID is intact, at least we can keep track of it in the CSU, right? Mm-hmm. Now it turns out that when you go here and you expire it, you inactivate the tag, right? So we weren't seeing it in the CSU anyway because it was inactive. And it was confusing us. It's like, okay, we see the inventory, we see that there are 6, and then when you go there, there are 7 because it's the expired one. And it's like, why this 7 is not showing? So it's like a problem on well, it's not a problem, but it's like because of the software works that way, then it's like, so then it doesn't really matter. If it's not being tracked anyway, at least we don't have it accessible for anybody to take it, right? So we just put it in the one-way return box, right?
All expired meds now just go in the drop box.
And then it's easier. Now it's all expires go there. We don't have 2 systems. All expires goes there, right? And we will change. So I'll send the video this week, and then we'll change the signs that are in the return box that it says only non-control expired meds. We will change that for all expired meds. Yeah, we'll do that. This is we have been talking about, but this is the one-way return box. And then every time you put medication in there, like independently of what it is, but especially if it's controlled substance and it's broken, then use the white cap right? Just a way to keep it in there. And it's also for us, when we open that box, then it's very easy for us to identify the controlled substance that way, because they are inside the capsule, right? We had an incident that we were like, oh my God, what is this med? I mean, they say that they returned it, but we didn't find it, right? And it's because they put it inside of a brown bag, inside of something else, and it was there like mixing everything. So it's not that we find it at the end, right? We were lucky, but we had to go through all the meds that were expired, and we had to look at the camera. Did they put it? They don't put it? And when I look at the camera, I saw that it was inside the brown bag. It's like, okay, now I know what it is. So it's just easy for everybody, right, to identify the controlled substance. So, and then just fill out the form. When this already we went over, when returning these or the capsules or like the RFID tags, whatever you want to return, if it's not a med, you don't need to fill up the form. So it's like one less thing to do. Okay, any questions with that expires? I'm going to talk about transfers, which this is the big thing, because this is where we have more issues. Okay, so transfers. When are we going to use transfers? So 3 different kind of like scenarios. One, when you are restocking. Either if you are restocking from the CSU, or if you are restocking from another provider, right? From another vehicle safe, because you are transferring the med, which is allowed, you can do that. Second, when you are changing vehicles, right? If you are, it's a reserve vehicle, you are moving because it needs to go to maintenance on something, you need to transfer all the medications, then you will use transfer there. And then the last one is temporary storage. When you are, let's say you are in an engine, you are jumping to a medic unit, you go to the hospital, you want to secure your meds, you put them in there, safe. When you remove them, you want to make sure that they are transferred out, right? So those are the 3 scenarios. So we will go one by one. Restocking. So this is a medic unit. So you go and remove, this is like the restocking, one is clear, the one that we just saw before. You just go to the CSU and you restock. That's from the CSU. Now, this scenario will be if you are transferring a med from one medic unit to another one, or from one engine to a medic unit, or whatever, like from one unit to another one, right? So let's say that you are in the medic unit, you remove your CSC from that vehicle safe, you remove the med that you are going to give to, let's say, the engine, right? The scenario will be, you go to a call, it's an engine goes first, use a midazolam, right? And now the patient needs to be transported. So the medic unit comes. So the medic unit is going to replenish your midazolam that you use in the engine, so you are ready to go to the next call. And then the medic unit can take the patient to the hospital, right? And they will replenish the midazolam after they do that. So in the medic unit, I'm going to actually give you the midazolam. So I remove my midazolam from the case, and when I put it back into the case, then it's going to say, hey, missing alert, right? I give it to the engine, and then I put it back into my case, missing alert, because I just removed the midazolam, then I press transfer, because I'm giving it to the engine. The engine just put it back into their box, and they put it inside the vehicle safe, right? And it will say missing medication, missing midazolam, right? Incident number, because I use it in the patient, right? And then this medic unit will go and replenish there after the call. Questions? Yes?
When the engine puts the restocked midazolam in the box and puts it in the safe, does the safe give them a prompt to say, hey, I found one that wasn't here before?
No, it just incorporated into their inventory.
Just has to account for the one that's missing.
Correct.
Okay.
The safe will never ask you if you are putting something in. It will always ask you if it's missing something from their inventory.
So record keeping is on the back of medic unit who recognized they took this vial off theirs, said they gave it to them.
That's why you need to put transfer, because it's moving.
Yep.
And these, you will get a lot of like questions like this. Because you will get a lot of questions like, can I do this? Can I give my midazoline to the engine, right?
Does the medic unit need to hit transfer first before we do it? Like, or will it just automatically recognize like it's been transferred?
Remember, the safes don't talk to each other, right? And we actually were having problems with the transfer, inactivated and activated, and the software is going to change that because they were doing it correctly. We were having a lot of problems with this, right? And we identify as like, the meeting was great because we identify something that they need to correct in the software, which they say they are going to do as soon as possible, which is this transfer. We identify that we couldn't do the expire thing because also it activates our thing. So we did like, you know, we got together and we say, okay, what can we do to make this better? Okay, in this case, you need to change your software. In this case, it's easier for us to change our practice, right? So we kind of like compromise there.
If the medic unit doesn't recognize or doesn't update the fact that it's transferred, it'll reach a time threshold and then send notifications that medication is still missing.
Yes, because, and that is another thing that we are implementing. Anything that is in limbo, that we don't know where it is going to send us an email saying, hey, where is this med? We don't know, right?
So
there is no reason, there is no reason code in something like that.
Keep short accounts, you don't have like a week that it's been missing. You
Yeah.
find out quickly so you can get the bottom of it and resolve it.
Yeah. You had a question?
Can you just go over the process? Let's say a vehicle is involved in an accident or has to be towed from the scene or have to take a complete case. Let's say these folks take possession of that complete case or a call to get possession of the controlled med. Can you go over the process of what do I do with this complete case and how does that go in my system?
And that will be kind of like when you're changing vehicles. So next scenario, right? But is this clear, like the restocking, right? Because for sure you are going to get questions about this. Right? Okay. Okay, so the next one, changing vehicles. Yes?
I'm sorry, talking about the engine using a med and the medic coming and giving them that, replacing it and putting transfer in the safe on the unit. Where are they going to put the incident number for that call that medication is attached to?
In the engine.
On the engine.
Because the engine is the one that uses it.
Yes.
That RFID, the one that they use on the patient, that's where it goes. Now, question is, right, who is filling out the EPCR?
Yes.
Right? So in that case, and thank you for doing that, now I recognize, in that case, if I use this and I still have my, you know, my RFID in my hand, I'll just give it to the medic unit. It's like, hey, I use this one.
Yeah.
This is the number you need to
I forgot
add.
to do that before, and have to like call the
Right.
unit and be like, hey, here's your RFID number.
Yes.
All right.
So just make a habit of like, you know, if I use it and you are giving it to me, just give the cap with the RFID to the medic so they have all the information they need to fill up the EPCR.
The engine puts incident number on
the safe. Yes. Yeah. But the medic, when he's filling the EPCR, will put the RFID in there. Yeah.
So it's full swap, including the top.
Yes. Because what we are linking here is the incident number that they put in the safe and the incident number that the medic filled. I'm not checking that the name of the people is the same. I'm just checking the incident number is the same, right? So, okay, so changing vehicles. So we are removing the whole CSC, right? So we are taking the whole CSC from one safe and we are putting it into the other one. Because this is not going to be just like for a call that I'm going and then I'm going back. This is going to be several days in between, right? So then what I need to do is like kind of like force to tell the safe, hey, all of these are going to be missing for a while, right? So then what you do is just press enter. So you press enter, and then it asks you, okay, there are 7 tags missing, right? So then you go one by one saying transfer, 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 or you do transfer on the first one, and then you press and hold enter, and it will copy the same reason to the other 6. So you don't have to go one by one doing da-da-da.
And if you look at the screen, it'll, after you select transfer for the first one, it'll say, if you want to assign the same reason to all of the medications, press and hold enter. So it kind of gives you those instructions if you look at it.
It's just that it's like this little, and when you're looking there.
Yeah, some of them in Medicaid are like way inaccurate.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, I was it. So then you just put all the case in your vehicle too. You just place it in there, and remember, it's not going to ask you anything. Every time you put something in, it's like, okay, good, we're good. I'm placing like these 7 meds into my inventory now. Same thing when like either like you are transferring or like you are moving to another vehicle because it's being repaired or whatever, or it's a crash. You're not going to go back to that vehicle, right? Just remember that in this case, eventually you're going back to that vehicle or another one that is going to be your permanent, because this is not going to be your permanent, right? So when you go back, then you do the same thing, right? I'm just transferring the whole case to my other vehicle, right? So then you just do the same thing. Question?
So somebody got a question up here who didn't want to ask for some reason.
That's number 7 up.
Okay, so in this scenario, they're on an engine and they upstaff an ambulance for an ALS patient, right? So they take all their narcotics from the engine, right? And they're doing patient care. But it's going to go back to the engine when they're done. Can they or should they put, like they're like, now I'm going to the hospital, I want to put these narcs in the ambulance vehicle so I don't have to carry them around the hospital. Does that mess anything up?
No, and we will see that in the next slide.
Okay.
That's the health thing. Yes. You're so good. You are just saying whatever. You are already doing this. Yes.
We were setting you up for success. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So this is just the change, right? Like you are moving from one vehicle to the other one, and then you are going back. So just remember to do that transfer. And this is what we are seeing, that people is forgetting, right? And then when the next person goes and pick up that same reserve, it's like, hey, there are 7 missing, right? Because we didn't do this transfer, right? Or we didn't do this transfer neither. So now you're picking it up again, but it's a different crew, and it's like, I just pick it up and it already tells me that it's 7 missing, right? So just make sure that we continue this. Okay, temporary storage of a case, right? So this is your thing. So the engine, right? You are ALS provided in an engine. You take your CSC with you. You keep your CSC with you during the whole call, right? But now you have to jump into an ambulance to make it a medic unit to go to the hospital, right? You are going with them. So obviously, when you are in transfer, you are still on the call. You can still use it, right? So I wouldn't recommend that you do whatever you do best. I mean, you know better, right? But usually, if you are with the patient, you are not going to just put the CSC in the case, in the safe, because you are taking care of your patient and you don't know if you are going to need controlled substance or not. You might know, but maybe you know. But now you arrive to the hospital, right? And you want to make sure that your controlled substance are safe, right? So then you take the CSC and you just put it into the safe of the medic unit, right? So when you put it in, you don't have to do anything. Just put it in, close, that's it, right? Now, when you are back, right, you took care of your patient, and then you are back, and then you have to go back to your engine, right? So you remove the whole case from that safe, and then you are transferring them out, right? So you just press enter, and then same thing that before. You press transfer for the first one, hold and press and hold, and transfer all the other ones. Now,
even though you never transferred it in,
You do have to transfer
transfer it out.
you transfer out. Now, let's say that you use something, right? Like you use something during the call. So now instead of 7, you have 6. But what you put into this new one, how many are they? 6. And you are transferring out 6. So you don't have to put any incident number because you just put 6 and you transfer it out 6, right? Now, when you go back to your engine, you had 7. This, remember that it was 7, and now it's 6. So now is where you have to put the incident number in your engine, because that's where you used it from, right? That is the one that is missing, and that's the one that is going to ask you, is missing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right?
So anytime you put meds in the safe, whether you transfer them in or not, you gotta transfer them out. Put meds in the safe, you have to transfer them out.
Unless you're on a call.
Yes. I mean, like,
Yes.
you're permanently moving.
Permanently. If it's temporary, every time that is a temporary storage, you transfer it in and out, right? When it's permanent, because you are going to a call, but the permanent is that, and I'm going back to that same safe, then I don't have to transfer them out. Actually, you don't want to do that, because if you transfer them out and then you put it back in, if you use something, it won't record it. It's not going to ask you because you just transfer them out, right?
If it's not going back to be stored in that safe, you have to transfer them.
Yeah. Okay? This is the most, like the transfers is the most thing, right? And we sent a video last week, like explaining these 3 type of scenarios. So please ask your, we usually, Chief Alvaro sends pharmacy updates on Fridays. So we have Fridays pharmacy updates. So we send the first one, like trying to push, like to make people understand the safe don't talk to each other. You need to tell each safe, it's like in your family. If you don't talk to each other, you need to tell each person what you want to say, right? Because they don't talk to each other. So same thing. And then the text, do not put the text in. The second video is talking about the transfers, right? 3 different scenarios. Please take a look, discuss, like the more you discuss like this is how you get it, right? And then the third video is coming up for the expires, like the change on expires and the change on the waste, okay? And we are going to talk about waste now, right? So this is going to be, it's just an addition. It's not like a full change of how we do it. It's just a little tweaks here and there. So where we deposit the waste, right? If we only use a partial, or like in the case that we were talking before, you draw the whole thing, right? But then you don't administer, but you have it in the syringe, you need to dispose it, right? So then you have like several places where you can do it. At the hospital, you have the Smart Sink. The brand is Cactus, but it has 2 different devices. One is the Smart Sink that it has 3 kind of like places. One is for tablets, the other one is for patches, and then the big hole is for liquids. Or they can have only like this, a smaller one that is only for liquids, that is called PharmaLock, right? So you can see either or. Virginia Hospital has a different one. I don't think it's RX Destroyer, but it looks very similar. It's just like a cup that you put it. So just look for kind of like they might look differently, but that's the way. The medication is, once you put it in there, it's chemically destroyed, and it becomes unrecoverable. Whatever. You cannot recover. Okay. Witness is required. Please make sure that they know that a witness from our agency, the nurse is not a witness, like the doctor is not a witness. We have to be everybody for our agency, right? And then you just put it in there. One note, that just in case you want to discard everything that you have in your bag, right? If you shoot the controlled substance inside the saline bag and you want to discard it, you can, but make sure that you press that. So the system knows that it's a lot of liquid coming at once, so it doesn't block the system, right? So just make sure. And it says in here, I think it says somewhere, but anyway, it's just make sure to do that, right? This is the list of the locations where everything is in the hospitals, right? So, and we will send these to everybody. I just got it like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, this was very good, like to know where every cactus is in the hospital. And this is how it looks like, right? You will have it like either here or you will have it here. Now, in Innova, they told us that they were going to put cactus like in the EMS room. They are not. Like in some places they did, in some places they don't. So that's how is this access, right? Access to EMS. In Fair Oaks, Mount Vernon, they have it inside the medication room, so you need to ask the nurse. I talk to them and I say, is this going to be a problem? They say no. I mean, the amount of times that you are wasting is so little that it doesn't bother us, right? You might need to wait a little bit if the nurse is doing something else, but
I see. So by no, you mean you just need them to grant you access?
Yes, you just need to ask for permission. Exactly. You just need to ask for permission. Yeah.
Ask them to let you in.
Yes.
Like, let me in.
Yeah. So then they will let you in. And I forgot who is the person in Innova. I forgot his name, but he's really nice. Steve is one, but Steve is only first vax. That one, yes. He was the one sending me this, so I want to give him credit. Very good. And then we just added the ones like here for the other hospitals. And then this is the new thing. We are going to add this one, the PharmaLog, in the satellites. So if you didn't happen to go to the hospital, but you need to waste something, when you go to replenish in the satellite, you can waste there. So it's just giving you another option. It doesn't mean that you need to only waste at the satellites. Obviously, prefer is at the hospital. But if you are not going to the hospital, instead of like having to go there to do it, then you have the option to discard in the satellite.
Hearing you say it's preferred if you're at the hospital to waste there, not carry it back to the satellite.
Correct.
Unsecured and partially consumed.
Correct. We always encourage hospital first, right? But we had an instant that, like, let's say the example of the engine, right, that we saw before. The engine is the one administered, but it's like a half dose, right? But then the ambulance, the medic unit is the one that transports the patient, right? So you can either follow the medic unit and go to the hospital and discard the other one, or you can go to the satellite and you are replenishing and discarding in the satellite, right? I don't know how you guys feel about, like, if I give half a dose, I give the other medic the other half for them to waste.
Yeah, I mean, that happens, yeah.
That is your own thing, right?
Wouldn't you give it to them, like, in case they need to use it as well, right? Like, if they're using it en route, hey, take this if you need it.
I think as long as your witness is there.
I mean, whatever you do now, I'm not trying to change your practice.
Utilization policies or recommendations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you clarify? You use half a dose of the vial. The rest of that vial, when you go back to the satellite, you can discard the rest of that vial.
You can waste it.
You don't have to draw it out and then dump it, right?
No. You have to draw it out. Yeah. Because you cannot put the vial inside. You need to draw it out.
What's the difference between the
Because I'm not wasting your half. You need to finish your half.
Yeah, no, the difference between like you pop the cap on one and then you end up not drawing anything out of that.
Because nobody used that.
Yeah.
That is a full vial, right? That I can send for, I can send to the reverse distributor. If the cap is popped, I cannot reuse it. So I will send it for expired, and I have to record it as expired and give it to the reverse distributor, right? Well, if it's used, if it's drawn, it's a partial, the reverse distributor is not going to take that one. They don't take partials, they don't waste, right? You as a provider has to waste it, right? And that is something that when I was at the hospital, some of you guys were bringing us partial doses, and I always have to call your EMS supervisor saying, hey, we don't waste. You have to waste your own waste. We are not, and they also like sometimes put like empty vials. Yeah, we are not a trash disposal. You need to dispose your stuff, right? Same thing.
Where do the empty vials go? Where do you want to put them?
So the empty vials, good question. So empty vials, right? What do we do with the empty vials? So the syringes, if it's already in the syringe, once it's empty, right, you can just put it into the sharp containers, but it has to be empty. And the vials, you can also put it into the sharp containers, or if they have a specific waste form at the hospital, then you can put it in wherever they are putting it. I don't know, where do you put it now?
Sharp.
Yeah.
It's empty.
So then same thing. If you are at the satellite, all the satellites have a sharp container there, so you can do the same thing. Question, Karen?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
So the waste form, can you just reiterate, you may have said this, so I'm confused now. The waste form in ImageTrend is only if you use it on a patient, and the waste form for Microsoft Forms is if you don't use it on a patient?
No, it's two different forms, right? One is the medication return form. That's when you are returning meds. The waste form in ImageTrend is going to be always. We are going to delete the Microsoft. That's the change, right? The change is that we are not going to use that Microsoft waste form any longer. We are going to use the waste form in EPCR.
But you have to start a whole new EPCR if you don't have a patient care.
Well, so the only reason why that will happen, and that is why it's not attached to the, like if you, so when will be the case that you will have something to waste, but you don't have an incident number?
Yeah, that's true.
It might be. Maybe this is something that we didn't think of. You shouldn't, right?
Otherwise, you're returning it, and that's the Microsoft return form.
Yeah. Yeah. Either you return it because you just broke this, but if you like draw it and you waste it, you are still having an incident number, right? And when you're filling that incident number, you just go to the form, and that is why it's not part of the EPCR per se, because you didn't administer, but you still can fill out the form as an attachment that you wasted, right?
Anna, can we put a bunch of syringes and blunt needles at the some of these locations to encourage the wasting at the, just in case they forget you just bring it up, you might not.
Because you're not going to have stuff with you to draw.
Yeah.
All your stuff's in your bag.
Which then you would also have to restock, just to waste.
Yeah.
So if that is the case and it's easier for you to waste at the satellite than that. I don't know, like, if we can, put things in there at the hospital.
But like even at least at the satellite,
No, at the satellites, we can do that, yes.
Pills and 3 cc's.
At the hospital, you'll be able to
Yes.
get them. That's not hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
So-
can just go into any of the rooms and just go into
Yeah.
Yeah, or technically they're locked, but like.
Yes, technically they're locked.
Yeah, we can leave it, we have that box that we put like the stuff from the pharmacy in that blue box, so we can add some syringes there, yeah.
Yes, and one fills and syringes to facilitate
Yeah,
that.
I'll talk to Jody and see what she can do.
Thanks, Jody.
Okay, so this is how it looks, the waste form in EPCR, right? So when you have the incident number, and bear with me because I don't feel EPCR, so you know more than me. But this is what actually Nelson sent me these screenshots. So you just go to the unit and crew info, then you click on the worksheets that is here on the right? Then you click on the controls, and then this is the form, and then you just fill it out. And these are the things that is going to ask you in the form here. So you click which medication, you click it. The only thing with this form is like if you use 2 different meds, right, you need to fill 2 forms. Right, one, because otherwise you will have to, in order to have one form, we will have to write down the name of the med, and then it makes more complicated in order to know what happened. So this one you can just touch which one you use. So let's say that you use fentanyl and midazolam, then you do one for fentanyl and then one for midazolam. That will be the only caveat, that we will have to be 2 forms.
But you're saying it'll prompt you knowing this. It'll flag it.
It will flag it if you use a control.
It's a red banner.
It's not a red because maybe you have like, you use it all. And if you use it all, you don't have a waste, so it's an option.
But I mean, there's like a memory jump under the medications, CSK, or...
That I don't know, but again, like if you're wasting, you need to, so if you're wasting, you need to fill out the form, right? Right now, again, this is another point where we have, I mean, people is pretty good at filling out even the Microsoft form, right? What is like a totally different thing, right? And they are filling it out. So, because they want to make sure that they record that witness. Hey, I did it, I discarded it, right? Because otherwise, and that is the thing where we like match it, right? If you use only partial, you have to waste it. So we are doing those audits, and if we don't see that waste, then we call and say, hey, what happened? How did you waste this, right? So, yeah. And this is my last one. If you have any questions, this is pharmacy. I also added EMS logistics, but maybe it's not updated, so I need to update that. Jody will tell us what is the new one. So don't call here, don't call here.
We're working on a Teams phone that'll go to both me and Chris, and eventually our third person as well.
Yeah.
That's a great
I do a lot of
model
phone
there.
calls, I'll give you a call.
Most of you have that number already in your phone. Yeah.
You're on speaker.
Okay, that was it.
Great work.
Questions? Yes.
So real quick, question about that. So I'm hammering through my report, and I give Percent to my season whoever, and I'm like, okay, whatever, and I submit, and I go, oh crap, I forgot to do my worksheet. Can I start a new EPCR?
No, you just unlock it. So for you won't be any problem.
And have it unlocked?
Yes.
So that I can...
So you call your EMS, they unlock it, and then you fill it out.
No, you will have access to go back into your
Yeah.
But somebody else will have to call you.
But
Yes, somebody else will call you.
Really the more relevant point
Yes.
is when this goes live and somebody else is going, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and submit, crap, hey, Mark, can you unlock this for me? That's going to be a thing until everybody gets used to it, or until we start prompting people that, hey, you gave meds.
That's why there needs to be a prompt.
And maybe, again, maybe it's...
You're at 3 o'clock, there's a problem. Make it a red flag item.
Yeah.
Because it's not part of the EPCR, it's an attachment to it.
Yeah. So I'll talk to Steve Harman and see. Because they are the one, and maybe it's already there. It's just that I don't know. This was Steve Harman's and Harman Nelson and John Morrison, they built this, right? And maybe it's already there, I just don't know. The idea is to go live with this on the 18th.
You gave me. Do you have their weights? Yes. So boom.
Yeah.
Sidebar conversations, we can't hear Anna.
Got it.
So the idea is to go with this on the 18th. I'll talk to Steve Harman, Nelson, and John Morrison are the ones that they built this. So I'll talk to them regarding that question because I don't know, maybe it's already there, right? But I don't know. And they are going to put like for real, like all the steps and everything that you need to do this, and they are going to send it to everybody. So is the 18th a good day? We are like, if I send the video with kind of like this information this week, and then during the next 2 weeks, the pharmacy team will put the cactus on the satellites, and then the first day, the idea is the first day to start like with the form live in the EPCR the 18th, and then have like a grace period, and then delete the other form on the 31st. Kind of like have a good transition. Okay.
Yeah, because when they can't accident, they'll call and say, why can't I accident?
Yeah.
Sorry, you've been gone for a month. But
Yeah. Especially now that, people is on vacation, you don't, like give a little bit. Yeah.
redirect them.
Yeah, exactly. But the main thing is like if if they have a question, they just go back to you and then you tell them what to do, right? So.
Right, but the presumption is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.